So, Dad, Professor Steg, the two men who live near the volcano, and they're all on their way to the volcano to speak to the priest of Splod. After half an hour, we reached the volcano. It was not a very big volcano. There were wisps of smoke coming from the top of it. On the side of the volcano, there was a carving of a big, scary face with one eye in the middle of its forehead. The eye was the biggest emerald I had ever seen. There we go. See, the emeralds are the best. Save the emeralds till last because they are the most spectacular jewel. A special shiny greeny stone, said Professor Steg with his mouth full of rope. The fat man clambered up the side of the volcano. It's a good thing that Splot himself told us to give you the Eye of Splod, said the little thin man, who had narrowly avoided being sacrificed, because there is another prophecy that says if the Eye of Splod is ever removed, Great Splod will awaken and spread burning destruction across the land. Uh-oh. Here you go, said the fat man. He handed us the emerald. Professor Steg nipped up the rope ladder into the balloon's basket and began to install the emerald in the time machine. Hang on. He was a stegosaurus. Yeah. Then how could he just nip up a rope ladder? He was, said my father, a large stegosaurus, but very light on his feet. There are fat people who are excellent dancers. Are there any ponies in this? Asked my sister. I thought there'd be ponies by now. I was standing on the ground, holding on to the rope ladder, when the ground shook and the very small volcano began to belch smoke and lava. Splod is angry, said the little thin man. He wants his eye back. Oh, get your hands out of the way, Miss Bishop. Volcano's going off. There was a rushing wind, and the balloon jerked me up into the air, high above the spurting lava. Unfortunately, I dropped the milk. I wasn't holding on to it tightly enough. It landed on the top of Splod's head. Professor Steg hauled the rope ladder up with his tail. I've lost the milk, I told him. That's not good, he admitted. But I know where it is. It's on top of Splod's head, on the side of the volcano. Professor Steg said, Good Splod! What on earth is that? Before our eyes, another balloon, just like ours, appeared over the volcano. A man hurried down the rope ladder. He placed a large emerald in Splod's eye, picked up the milk from Splod's head, ran up the ladder, and the balloon vanished. What's going on? The very small volcano stopped erupting as suddenly as if it had been turned off. That was a bit peculiar, wasn't it? Said the professor. It was, I agreed. Gloom and despair and despondency coming over me. That man in the balloon stole my milk. We're lost in the past with jungles and pirates and volcanoes, now I will never get home. My children will never have breakfast. We are doomed to float forever through the dusty air of the past in a hot air balloon. It is not a balloon, said Professor Stegg. It is a floaty ball person carrier. What nonsense you do talk. Now, I think that should do the trick. He finished attaching the emerald to the box, using string mostly, and also sticky tape, and he pushed the red button. Where are we going? I asked. It seemed like the sun was zooming across the sky as if nights were following days in a flickering strobe. So a strobe is a light that goes on and off really quickly. Here they are. I love these drawings. So time travelling once again. The far, far future, said Professor Stegg. The machine stopped. We were hanging in the air above a grassy plain, with a very small grey mountain beneath us. There, said Professor Stegg. It is now an extinct volcano, but look. On the side of the extinct volcano was carved the face of Splod, still recognisable, even though it was much eroded by time and the weather, and in the single eye was a huge green emerald, a perfect twin to the one that we had attached to the time machine. Right, said Professor Stegg. Grab me that special shiny greeny stone. I went over to the side of the basket and down the rope ladder. I pulled the emerald out of the eye socket. So here they are now. They've gone into the future and the volcano is no longer a live, erupting volcano. Splod's not going to be happy. Below me, on the plain, a number of brightly coloured ponies were gathered. And when I picked up the emerald, one of them shouted up at me, "You must be the man without the milk. We have heard about you in our tales." "Why are you a pink pony with a pale blue star on the side?" I asked. "I know," said the pony with a sigh. Better read that again. "I know," said the pony with a sigh. "It's what everybody's wearing these days. Pale blue stars are so last year." Professor Stegg leaned over the side of the balloon's basket. "Hurry up," he called. "If the volcano is going to go off, it could do it at any moment." I thought it was supposed to be extinct. Okay, keep up, Miss Bishop. The volcano made a noise like a huge burp, and the middle of it collapsed into itself. Here come the ponies. "We thought it would do that," said a green pony with a sparkly mane. "There was a prophecy, I suppose," I said. "No, we're just very clever." All the ponies nodded. They were very clever ponies. So back into the kitchen where Dad's telling the tale. "I'm so glad there were ponies," said my sister. I got back into the balloon basket. Professor Stegg unhooked the first emerald from his time machine and replaced it with the one that I had just taken from the weathered face of Splod in the future. "Do not, whatever else you might do," said the professor, "touch those two stones together." That's a fatal thing to say. Why not? Because, according to my calculations, if the same object from two different times touches itself, one of two things will happen. Either the universe will cease to exist, or three remarkable dwarfs will dance through the streets with flower pots on their heads. That sounds astonishingly specific. Or detailed, I said. I know, but it is science. And it is much more probable that the universe will end. I thought it would be. You look so sad, Professor Stegg told me. I am. It's the milk. My children are breakfastless. The milk, said Professor Stegg. Of course. And with that, Professor Stegg pressed the red button with his heavily armoured tail. There was a zoom, a twarp, and a thwang, and we were hurtling through the cosmic void. Then it was dark. Very dark. Oops, said Professor Stegg. Overshot a little, only by a week though. Hold on. Professor Stegg leaned over the side of the basket. Excuse me, he said. Is there anyone around? Only me, said a surprised-sounding voice from below us. The priest of Splod. Who is that up in the sky? Is it a bird? You don't sound like a bird. I'm not a bird, said Professor Stegg. I am a marvellous, yet mysterious and prophetic voice, telling you a mighty prophecy. So mighty that, very mighty indeed. Listen, when a huge and good-looking, spiny-backed individual, monster, I told him, the prophecy said monster, accompanied by a scrawny human being of revolting appearance, said Professor Stegg. That wasn't necessary. Lands in a floaty ball person carrier, you must not sacrifice them. You must instead take them to the volcano and give them the eye of Splod. And this shall be the way that you shall know them. The human being will hold up some milk. Is that a prophecy? Said the voice. Yep. Is there anything about crops in it? I'm afraid not. Oh well, thanks anyway. Prophetic. Oh well, thanks anyway. Prophetic and mysterious voice from the air. I pressed the red button. And that is the end of part 4. See you next time.